Ethan, my man.
What's going
Appreciate
on,
you
bro?
coming on.
Of course, man.
Yeah, man. So I probably said this in the intro already. Ethan, one of the best people who ever come through Copylead, has made probably the most money out of everyone. And today we're not gonna make this some like, oh, look at how sad my life was before I joined Copylead. Oh, now my life is great. Join Copylead. We're just gonna have a talk. And I just want to share with you guys what Ethan learned, the things that clicked for him, because he was in your shoes a year ago. And now, as you'll learn, he's in an insane situation. So everybody, leave a comment, say thank you, Ethan. He doesn't have to do this. He's a busy guy, so we appreciate him big time for coming on. But Ethan, share with them what your life business situation looks like right now.
So you said the goal isn't to talk about before and after and how terrible my life was and then how great it is now, but I think it will inevitably be hard for me to do that.
That's okay. I just wanted to be honest. Whatever it looks like,
Yeah.
honest.
I mean, right now, I currently have the dream job. I work for a startup out of San Francisco, running their entire B2B marketing and sales. And we have raised like an insane amount of money, $4.5 million so far. Our lead investor is the CEO and founder of OpenAI, so ChatGPT. Personally dumped like $1 million in cash into our business. And I just get to run all of the cool things that drive our client base. So like we work with companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, like a lot of the top guys.
Wow.
Um, but it didn't always start this way because, as you know, KJ, I was a year ago. Literally, I never made a dollar online before. I worked just like a normal part-time job. I made $1,700 a month, which at the time was barely enough to keep my wife and I alive. Thankfully, we lived in Belgium and we didn't have like all the normal crazy American expenses of like health insurance or
That
car
helps.
insurance or all that stuff. Otherwise, I would have been cooked. Like, there's no way two people are surviving on $1,700 a month in the US. But anyways, that was the state I was in. And yeah, fast forward, I just looked at our text messages, KJ, and on the 7th, so like in 5 days, it'll officially have been a year since I joined Copy Elite.
Wow.
Uh, which is
That's
nuts
crazy.
because you might have said this in the intro, but like I have just passed 100K in cash collected within that year period. And you know this, it's like I spent the first 3 to 4 months doing nothing. Where I was like trying to build a business, but I didn't actually send any outreach. I never wrote any copy. I never like did a single bit of action. And so it was really in the past 7 to 8 months that everything just took off. And I'm happy to get into like why that was and a lot of the variables that led to the success. But the transformation really has been crazy into like pre-copy elite, pre-education, which is really what I attribute a lot of it to,
True.
and then post that to where I can actually build the life of my dreams. We hit 10K a month within like 2 months of actually starting to take action.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and yeah, dude, it was a pretty cool experience. So I'm really grateful for it.
Oh, your story sounds so much like mine. Me and my wife living off $1,600 a month, above a garage,
Oh,
10K
come
a
on.
month in 2 months. Dude, that's crazy.
Hey, you
Very
got to get up
similar.
to 17, bro. That's where the big money's at.
That's where, yeah, for that extra 100, bro, YouTube TV. Uh,
But you were in America.
that's
So
true, dude. Yeah, we thank by the grace of God is the only reason we were surviving. But I do know I know what people are thinking right now. And if you're watching this, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, Ethan must be just some lucky guy. He must be like a genius. He must be Elon. And I just want to take them back for a second because you shared with me something last week. Ethan was sitting on the DPS. If you don't know what DPS is, it was this old low ticket I used to have a year ago. He was sitting there for weeks, teetering on the buy button because he was scared to even think about taking action. So take us back to like that, Ethan, because that's where they're at right now, bro. These guys watching are thinking, I can't do this. Or if they do think they can do this, they're like, this is just too insurmountable.
yeah, no, totally. And that's a very valid fear. And I can say that because that was the place, like KJ said, that I was in for such a long time. I spent 3 months straight watching all of KJ's YouTube content, like literally from this first video of him when he was making $1,600 a month, and then documenting the entire journey. That resonated with me so much because I was like watching him level up live, and I was watching him go from 1,600 a month to then like 2,000 a month and then 3,000 a month and just cheering you on. I thought that was the coolest experience ever. And I I knew that you were a guy that I wanted to learn from, but and that you actually you sold the knowledge. You had a course of that period, which was nothing like the courses that you have now.
We've come a
But you
long
had,
way.
and I was like, look how much free value this dude provides. Look at all the things that he's learning in real time. I want to learn from him. But I was brand new to the game. Like I didn't even get into entrepreneurship until I mean until Copy Elite, so like a year and a half ago. Um, and I just knew that if I wanted to make progress, I probably needed to do something different than what I was already doing right now, which was nothing. And that I couldn't just learn everything on my own, or I guess if I could, it just would have taken me like 20 to 30 years. And I
Yeah.
saw how fast you were going in your process, and I was like, I have to learn from this guy. And so even after watching 3 months straight of your YouTube videos, consuming probably like 10 to 50 hours of your content, um, I would still sit on your school page for digital persuasion school, and I would sit there probably for 3 or 4 weeks straight, where I would like check in every day, and I would just like refresh the page and make sure that the price hadn't gone up yet, because KJ said like for every 20 people that joined or whatever, he was going to raise the price, and it was true, he did. But I was like so terrified because the price that it was at right then was $120, and you were going to raise it to 150.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if it goes up to 150, I'm not buying this because I can't afford it. Um, like just on a monetary level, I didn't have enough money, but then my mindset was just also I had a real poor man's mentality, and it was like $150. I could never spend that, especially on just some educational course, right? Um, but I feel like after having spent that 3 to 4 weeks just debating over and over again, I finally pulled the trigger because I was again terrified the price was going to jump up. And when I pulled the trigger, I think that that was the greatest decision I've ever made. Definitely, at least in terms of like business career.
Thank you, man.
Getting married was the best decision I ever made, but but in
Dude,
terms of
I'll
like
take
my
a
business,
close second all day.
uh, and I don't say that because the course was like insanely valuable or
Yeah,
whatever.
that course sucked.
It did teach me things, and I think I got more knowledge than I paid for. But why it was so valuable for me was because that was the first thing I ever bought that wasn't like a material goods.
Mm.
And it made a shift in my mindset where I realized that I could exchange my money for skills or for knowledge. And it was through that process that I really learned that if I was ever going to succeed in life, I needed to become the person that could succeed. And I wasn't going to get that by just tinkering around trying to figure things out on my own, or at least I wasn't going to get it in the time span that I wanted it to occur in.
Mm.
And so when I bought that course, it really was like this fundamental flip that happened where I was like, oh, this is something that I can do. And I ended up getting into Copy Elite, which was your other program at the time, still is. And that decision um, definitely paid itself dividends because it was like the next level up. Definitely a lot more expensive than the digital persuasion school. But it was from that moment that when I joined Copy Elite, I had $0 that I had ever made online. And then again, as you know, like 7 months later, or I guess 7 months after taking action, a year later of being in Copy Elite, I just passed over $100,000 generated. And I truly believe it was because of the knowledge that I gained in that course,
Crazy.
because of the mindset shift that I had about investing in myself. Because
Mm.
admittedly, like Copy Elite was not the only thing I ever purchased. I bought other courses, I invested in other coaching programs, and some of them better than others. But the fundamental thing that occurred through all of them was that I learned something and I got a higher ROI than the money that I put in. And I feel like if there's anything that I want to share with anybody about my story, it's like that's what did it for me. And that's what made it happen so fast. I literally sat down yesterday for dinner with a buddy and I was telling him my story about how I grew my marketing company. And then we hit 27K a month in 5 months, and then I sold it, which is like you don't hear that happen a lot with
That's
marketing
unheard
agents.
of. When you first said you
Uh,
were gonna try to sell it in coffee like 6 months ago, I was like, ain't no way he sells this.
Dude, and I freaking sold
And
it.
you
And you want to
sold
know
it. I
why?
was like, dang.
You want to know why I sold it? Is because you taught me how to think in systems, and you taught me this little concept of SOPs, meaning standard operating procedures. How do you take something that you do and how do you put it in a document so that anybody else can do it, even if they don't know how? That concept in and of itself was a fundamental reason I was able to sell the company because now I was able to build out documentation so that a buyer who didn't know anything about my business could come in and replicate everything that I did. And so the risk was taken off the table for them. And it
So
was like,
nice.
dude, I would have paid 100 grand to learn how to build SOPs, to think in
Yeah.
systems, like all the things that you taught me. And so I sold the marketing company, and then I went on and joined this massive startup that I mean, a bunch of people would like kill to be in this position. I'm just like so extremely grateful. I don't understand how I went from that place to now running all the marketing and sales for this large company, working with some of the biggest companies in the world and closing these deals, taking these sales calls. Like I don't understand how that happened outside of the reason that I just kept doubling down. And that's what I was telling the guy the other
Mm,
day at dinner. Because he was like, how did you do this in just a year? And I said, dude, I first off am extremely impatient. Which, I know a lot of you guys watching, like you just want things to happen right now. And that's both a blessing and a curse, right? It's because it means you're motivated. You want to actually take action and get things to happen. But at the same time, it's very challenging because you also, it
I
breeds a
say I
lot of,
like impatient with inputs, patient with outputs.
exactly. Yeah, perfect, perfect expression, man. And so I was like, I'm very impatient, but I also like attribute the reason that I continued to double down every time that I got anything, like whether it was cash, whether it was skills, whether it was opportunity, like the last thing I was going to do was just keep it to myself and hold it. I just continued to make big bets, and that's why I was able to accelerate my learning process, which guys, if you're watching this and you think that there's anything to success outside of just developing skills and then letting those skills compound, you're probably mistaken because it's like the only way that you're ever going to have the impact that you want to have, make the money that you want to have, change your family's life in the way that you want to change it. Like that will only happen by putting in hard work, and then developing the skills that it takes to achieve those goals. And it's like I was willing to bet anything that
Great.
was required to achieve those skills. And man, it's paid off ever since, dude. Like I was gosh, I was listening to Alex Hormozy the other day, and he was telling the story about how he was selling his he was working at his gym, building his gym and selling supplements. And he was like having a really hard time closing sales, getting people to actually pay for the supplements. And so he had this friend who ran a gym, and she would do millions of dollars a year in supplement sales. And he went to her gym and talked to the top salesman and offered to pay him $500 an hour for 2 hours to basically teach him everything that he did, sell supplements within the business. And he said when he told his business owner friend who, employed that salesperson that he was going to do that, she just looked at him like he had three eyes. She was like $500 just to talk to him. And she's like, it's your money. You can do whatever you want. And he said, those 2 hours, that $1,000 I spent, went on to make me millions. And he's not lying. Like he sold over like multi-million dollars in supplements, and then he sold his supplement company for like $40 million because of the supplements that he had sold, and he paid
Insane,
one
bro.
grand, bro. And it's like in my own story. I mean, I think KJ is pretty transparent with like roughly the cost of a lot of his stuff now, and
Oh yeah,
so
4K
I,
for Stevie.
yeah, I paid KJ in total $4,200 roughly, and in 1 year. I've now made over $100,000. And it's like, in what world do you get to get a 50x return on your money in 1 year rather than just acquiring skills and doubling down on that? And so it's like most people will tell you, oh, you have $100, you have $1,000, you have $10,000 in your bank account. What do you do with it? Go put it in the S&P 500. This is like all the financial advice you'll get is like go put it in an ETF, which is a safe form of investing. You'll yield 8% annual returns, and by the time you're 50, you'll have 100 grand or something like that. But it's like, in what world are you able to put $4,000 into one end and then get $100,000 out, a 5,000% return? It's like, dude, that makes the 8% return look like nothing.
But
But the
that's
only
just over a year, right? Like compounded over 10. Then see what happens. That's disgusting.
but the only reason people don't do it is because of fear. And trust me, like I get it. That's the reason I said that I was there for. 5 weeks straight, just refreshing on digital persuasion schools. Like
And I
I had,
think I was gonna say I think too, um, you were fortunate to get a course that was good.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people need to realize, I don't know about people watching, but I bought a lot of bad courses. And usually the consensus was people get in these bad courses and they swear off online courses in general, not realizing that you're just simply swearing off education. You're swearing off decentralized education. Just because one course didn't work doesn't mean courses don't work. And so just like Ethan, he happened to get the lottery ticket on this first draw. But if you're gonna make it in this game, bro, it might not be your first draw. You might have to take three, four courses. You might actually learn some lessons, stack some things, and there's gonna be one thing that really sets it off. But I think that is huge. Another thing I want to zoom in real quick because there's just so much in your story that I want to unpack for people so they can really consume it. First thing that I see from this is, how do you expect anyone to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself?
mm,
And this is
yeah,
simply, it just simply has to start with that. If you don't believe you can do it, no one else will. Because who's going to root for you? Because I'll be honest, most of you guys as parents don't really believe you can do it. I know because, like, actions speak louder than words. And my parents wanted me to go to college. They didn't want me to do online business. They didn't believe I could make it work. Best parents in the world. But you're probably in a similar situation. It all starts with you. You've got to believe that you can do it. With God's help and your hard work, you have to believe. Second thing I would say with Ethan's stuff is, what's cool is he was someone who joined Copy Elite and honestly didn't do much for a couple months. And so you guys think that there's these people just join CE and all of a sudden everything changes immediately. This did not happen. I'm here like literally disproving my own course here. It has to be you. Like you have got to put in the effort. The ladder is there, but you've got to climb it. And so I remember like it was yesterday, Ethan's post where in literally he's 6 hours one day, 6 hours he decided to take the information and how much money did you make? Like
I don't
that
know, like
week or
a two
something?
K a month client or something like that.
Yeah, 0 to 2K month client in 6 hours. Like he had nothing. He crafted a brand new offer, built a system, worked it up, 2K. And that's just insane. And I kind of want to zoom in on that just for a minute. Those couple months when you were in, obviously you were learning, soaking in information, being in the coaching calls, seeing other guys win. What happened that day? Like take me back to that moment because that's really what I want to hit on. Because there's gonna be some guys in CE who are watching this who like just haven't done much. What what shifted that day?
Yeah. Just for even more context, like I spent the first 3 to 4 months in Copy Elite, like KJ said. It's like I would say it wasn't necessarily doing nothing, it was just doing the wrong things. Like I was working on trying to build software for a long time, but like
Yeah.
the problem is I am not technical and don't know how to build software. And so I was just trying to like do all this strategy, and I spent half of my day in Google Docs just thinking about how it would make my app go viral whenever I had an app. And it was like that was just something that I decided I wanted to kind of try and do, but I had no direction. I had nobody teaching me how to make it work. And so I was putting a lot of inputs in. They were just kind of the wrong inputs. And so the big shift for me happened when I realized, okay, I am trying to do something right now that is both like out of my control because I don't even have a software to sell. And I have nobody specifically giving me direction about how I should do this. What if I just change both of those things? What if I started to put my energy into something I could actually control, which is why kind of selling services is one of the best business models out there, especially for beginners, is it's because it's entirely within your control.
Hmm.
Like if you want to go wash somebody's windows, you can go knock on 50 people's doors and ask them to wash the windows and then wash the windows. It's like you can do all of that. Same thing with copywriting. If you want to write some copy, you can ask 100 people if you can write copy for them for free and then do it. It's like there's nothing stopping you. All it is action. And I just was not in a vehicle where that was necessarily the case. And it's like as soon as I made that switch, as soon as I was like, wait, let me just do something that's fully in my control and something that I have a mentor, somebody who has actually successfully achieved this before, like he can guide me. And why don't I just try and do that instead? And that was exactly what I did. I went through Copy Elite offer module, which teaches you how do you make offers that are just bangers. And I crafted up an offer in a couple of
I
hours,
made
like
a
zero.
banger.
It was a banger. It was a banger. It was like zero iteration, zero anything. It was kind of just from what I had learned. Yeah, hopping in the coaching calls, listening to you guys talk. And I just gave it a shot. And guess what? It's like a lot of it was terrible. Like I remember my first ever sales call with the guy who I ended up closing for 2K a month. The offer was like utterly terrible, and the presentation was even worse, dude. We got on the sales call, and I just immediately was like, "Oh, so you want to get clients? Okay." And then I screen shared and pulled up a Miro board
Uh,
that I had built in like 10 minutes, and it was like a red line that was like I don't know, you have zero clients. And like you want five clients, I'll do this in 90 days, all for you. Here's it's 2K a month. And he was like, Ethan, this is exactly what I need for my business. Like, I've been looking for somebody like you my whole life. And I was like, oh my gosh,
what?
I don't know how this worked. And I just got so lucky with that dude. Because it's like, as you know, that is not how sales calls usually go.
Yeah,
Um,
you never know.
but I don't know, he was just impressed that I took the tiniest bit of effort to like build out this Miro board.
And
And
something
then
right there I want to touch on real quick too is variance. So people think that people will have a horrible sales call experience and then forget that that same level of horrible is also the level of insane that exists. I'm serious. So it's like Ethan happened to experience one of these guys that was just insanely far on the good side of things. And so whenever you have a sales call that's rough and you're like, what the heck? This dude hated me for no reason. Remember, there are people who will love you for no reason as well. And it's just a volume game and getting in
yeah.
front of people.
And,
But
and continuing to just not give up. I mean, like the core theme here is that there were obviously a lot of things that were in my favor. Like KJ said, I hit the lottery on my first ever course and bought from a guy like this who just only cares about adding value. And that's fortunate. Like a lot of people do not get that. And then I took my first sales call and the guy just begged me to let him give me money. And it's like that also doesn't happen. And so just an encouragement to anybody watching, if you've taken a sales call and that wasn't the case, or you bought a course and that wasn't the case, please do not give up because these are genuinely the inputs that need to occur for you to really have a massive impact on the world. And the only way that you will not succeed at that is if you give up. And so, if you do really want to do something different with your life, if you want to deviate off of the normal path, if you want to like really change your family and the world's life, um, the only way you do that is just by continuing to show up. And it's like doing your best to not allow the negative experiences, like investing in bad education, or taking a bad sales call, to not write those off as like, oh, sales calls or online business is bad or education is bad, because it's like I'm telling you, KJ's telling you, anybody else who's made it in business is telling you that these are the key variables that are required for success. And so I think he hit it right on the head. It's just like try and let those experiences, whether they've been good or bad, not determine your outlook on some of these things. And just keep trying, like just keep getting after it because skills stack
yeah.
over time. They really, really do.
I
Um,
think that too, people need to understand you do not get wealthy from luck. So Ethan might have made 2 grand from luck, but the reason he looks back and cringes at that sales call now is because of how much better he's gotten. And now he gets payments without luck. And
mhm.
so I think that's a huge thing here is like if he just continued to blame luck and didn't change anything, he'd still be at that 2K a month.
Yeah.
But yes, he did get a lucky opportunity early, but you literally have to operate as if luck does not exist. And we've had guys in Copy Elite. It's actually just happened this month. Before CE, he sent 2,000 outreaches, literally crickets. After joining CE, implementing the principles, doing more volume, he still took longer than the average person, but he's now making 2K. I literally talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm on track to do 2K with this one client." I'm like, "What?" It's just so sick. It happens overnight, but unless you have skill, the opportunity doesn't mean anything. And so even if Ethan got that client, if he wasn't prepared from a skill level wise, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. He wouldn't have continued to grow. So it's all about having skill and waiting, putting in the volume for when that opportunity does arise, and you can just take
you
off.
can you have to capitalize on it too, because it's like when I got that first client, I took all the money I got, like when I was just making 2 to 3K a month, and I pumped it right in to a one-on-one coach where like I just paid the guy like $1,000 because I knew I needed this bottleneck fixed.
Mm.
And I paid him $1,000 for like a couple hours of coaching. And immediately, because he ran the exact same type of business as I did, he immediately told me how to fix my pricing. Because like before, I kept trying that like 2K a month, 3K a month thing, and I kept showing them Miro board, and so nobody would close. And I was like, what is happening? This doesn't work anymore. I have to do like a results base, like win your money back or 100% money back guarantee offer. And I would do it, and it was like a nightmare. I got paid like $750 one-time payment, and then I had to give half of it back because I didn't get the guy any results. And then I spent the $1,000 I had left on that coach, and he just immediately was like, Ethan, what are you doing? Charge 3K a month. Like just charge 3K a month. You'll get more no's, but the yeses will be better and there'll be more
Yeah,
high quality
yeah,
clients. And I did that. And sure, I got more no's, but guess what? I got like three clients paying me 3K a month. And now I was at 10K a month. And again, that's a $1,000 investment to make 10K in 30 days.
monthly. Yeah.
Um, gosh. Oh my
And I'll
goodness.
say too, it's some of you guys are listening to this and you're thinking, well, I've invested in stuff and stuff hasn't worked out like this, and how was Ethan able to go start his own thing? He was doing this through LinkedIn, by the way, guys. Like he basically took our stuff and applied it to his own realm where he had some experience. And this is the simple shift between tactics and principles. And so what he's saying now is because copy lead, because he just was a student of learning, you don't have to buy copy lead, because he based his foundations on first principles, meaning things that are always true. When it came to him doing these tactical things, he was able to pay 1K, get the tactic, and then everything worked. But if you have tactics based off of nothing, it's you built your house on the sand and it just comes crashing down. And so whether you're gonna, buy copy lead or just go watch the free course, you have to have the principles first, and then the tactics really make you money once those are there. And that's how Ethan was able to just take exactly what we taught, change the stuff to apply to LinkedIn, start crushing it with his own offer.
Yeah, for sure. And also one thing that I think is important to mention, it's like I understand that there's a lot of people that are watching this that don't have any money. Like I
Yeah,
also was in a very privileged position. Even to be able to have the $150 to pay for your first school. It's like some people don't even have that, man.
true.
Or I'll at least say some people don't think that they have that. But one thing that I have also really learned, and I learned early on in that period, is like you always make trades. And so I would have been just fine spending $120 on a pair of shoes. In fact, I had done that a lot. And again, not
Two
everybody is,
video games.
yeah, video games, but it's like in reality, for most kind of like first, second world people, middle class, upper class, it's like you always make decisions based on where your priorities are. And so that's fine. Like if you want to have the best style in class, if you want to have the highest elo on your video game, like that's totally fine. Do that. But also understand that that's the trade that you've made. And that's the decision and the investment that you want to make in yourself. And again, nothing wrong with that. But it's like if you want to not have that be a result and you want to actually really impact the world in a fantastic way, it's like you might have to go drive DoorDash for 1, 2 days. You might have to not buy the Madden points for a couple of weeks. You might have to not
No Fortnite skins.
the coffee. Like dude, sometimes it's as little as like don't go buy a iced vanilla latte every day, 5 days a week for like 3 weeks, and you can buy an education piece that will make you thousands of dollars over the rest of your life and really change the course and trajectory of your entire family's generation. Like it's like things as little as that. And even if you're in a less privileged position, dude, like there's so many opportunities when you have the skills. I think if anybody knows who like Ryan Trahan is, he's
The
one of the
GOAT.
top YouTubers right now. And he taught me this like really insane principle, which is when you have just some of those key core skills, the opportunities are there. So like when he did his penny series, he was trying to take one penny and turn it into, I guess he tried to just like travel across the entire US. And the first thing he did to make money was he sold a pin, or he like had the penny and he traded it for a pin. And then he took the pin and he traded it for a water bottle. And then he took the water bottle and sold it for $2. And then he did that a couple more times. then got a bunch of water bottles, sold them all for $2. The water bottles cost him $10 and he turned it into 100 and he just kept rinsing and repeating. And it's like, even if you're in a situation where you feel like you have no resources, there are opportunities for you to get the few things that you need. And again, I'm speaking from a privileged position, so it's not like I'm not telling you that I'm not telling you that like I have it all figured out or that your situation is not worse than it is. But I am saying, at least kind of from my perception, there are always those opportunities. And even if you need to go find a pin and trade it for a water bottle and take the water bottle and sell it for $2, it's like you can do it. And that's what I always like to share with people too. It's
Dude,
like,
that's something that I learned big time the past 2 months because I put out a free course, obviously, and I thought that would kind of solve all my problems of people, begging me for stuff and they couldn't afford things. I was like, okay, I'll just give away my best course for free. But then you realize that there's a principle that we love to buy. Like we really like to buy things. And also, that is skin in the game. That is putting your poker chips, your bet on yourself. And so, by showing me how much money you're willing to spend in relative to how much you have, shows me how much belief you have on yourself. And so, whenever I launched a low ticket school, I realized this is incredible because now I'm getting people who are actually serious, who believe that they can make it happen. They believe in this thing versus just tire kickers and people like, oh, I want to feel like I'm working. And I'm on a bit of a soap opera today, but dude, the guys who join copy school are incredible. Like it's blown me away how much just charging $150 a month changes things because now I see people who are just so driven and also they're grateful for the information and they use it because they paid for it. And yeah, I just think right now if you're in America or anywhere close to America in terms of you know I guess just resources, like I don't want you to I don't want anything to do with you unless you're willing to pay $150
yeah.
because that just show if you're not then it shows me that you're not serious about this. And I give away free content every week. That's why I do that. I want to help everybody. But as far as like giving that different level of support to, it's like, bro, be honest with yourself. Your shoes are worth $400. You have over $500 in video games. Like if you're not willing to pay $150, bro,
Like
like
that's the thing
you're
is I
not.
could literally walk into my closet and I could sell $150 worth of my clothes. Like just on the street, I could whip up a garage sale or something and pay like and I also just want to say this, like I don't get any commission. I don't care if you buy any KJ stuff. I don't think he even cares.
No, not anymore, bro.
He literally told me, like, this whole conversation, please do not, like, the goal is not to try and sell any of my stuff. Like, he straight up said that, but I don't really care. Like, my whole goal here is to help you guys change your life. Because KJ has done nothing for me other than help me change my own life. And so, I only say any of this, not because I want you to buy any of his stuff, but just because I want you to change your mindset of like what is possible for you in your life and what does it take to get there. Whether you buy KJ stuff, whether you buy somebody else's stuff, you should buy my stuff. It's 900,000. Oh, it was $9,999 every single day. So if you want it, one-on-one coaching,
Yeah.
um, no, I'm just kidding. But no, I really don't care what you buy. I just want to try and help you guys to like change that mindset because that was the only thing that got me to where I'm at. So
Amen. And I think some of you guys need to realize there's a lot of people online selling things to make money. But I want you guys to hear this from the bottom of my heart. If I had $1 billion, copy school would still be $150 simply because I know it's hurting you, you not buying it, and it's hurting the community of you being in there if you're not serious. And so like that's what it's for. If you guys aren't serious, bro, keep enjoying the free content. That's why we put it out. Like watch this is better than watching Mr. Beast. So like I'm happy. But that's why we speak so confidently about our stuff is there's a principle, dude, if you're not confident in what you sell, they're not confident in what you in what they buy. And I know my stuff is worth $10,000 for 100, and Ethan is living proof of that. So yeah, if you guys are trying to make an investment to better yourself online, there is no better place than buying a low ticket, not even the high ticket. Like Frick Copy Elite. Don't buy that. You're not ready for it. Buy Copy School. But thanks for Ethan for for plugging the stuff. But no, man. So I just kind of want to let's what would you say like the three biggest thing? Like you look back at Ethan who was sitting there shaking on the DPS page for 2 weeks. He's watching the free content. I mean, that's where a lot of these guys are at. Like they're watching the free content, they're loving it, they're absorbing things, but nothing is really happening. Like they're inputting a lot of things, but there's not real output. What are the three biggest things you would say that changed for you and people should focus on? Because like you said, you were just doing the wrong things. So I would love to hear your opinion. Like, what are the right things that you think these guys should be doing? Because I'm sure they would love to know that.
Yeah, great question. Um, I think action, and I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know, but I hope that hearing it from me, just based on my story, it has some weight. Action is the only thing that will get you to anywhere that you want to go. And so I am as guilty as they come of watching hours and hours of YouTube videos and doing absolutely nothing. And I felt extremely smart. In fact, like if I was talking to somebody and they would ask me about sales funnels or whatever, it's like, dude, I'm the go-to guy. Like I will tell you everything you need to know. And then when I needed to build a sales funnel, I was like, gosh, how does this work again? And so action is really the only thing that will get you anywhere. So that's the first thing that I had to learn to get to the position that I'm at. I think and I don't need to spend any more time on it. You asked for three. The second thing is definitely the mindset and taking big bets, taking big risks. In terms of the third, I think that like action combined with clear direction is really just the
Mm.
formula for anything. That's why I really like that within copy school you implemented the roadmap.
It's
And
insane, by the way. The results, like, it's
yeah,
crazy, dude.
that's awesome, bro. Because it's like when you know what to do, literally the only thing left to do is to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just a simple decision that everybody makes. You take the red pill, you make 10K a month, not really. You take 1K a month or whatever, just following things. You take the blue pill, you don't do anything. And it's like people have that option. Just take the pill. And so I think that what you're doing there is incredible. But like a lot of you guys might be willing to take action and you're like, I just want to work super hard. And maybe you are working super hard. You're sending 2,000 outreaches a day or whatever, a month. And nothing's happening. But it's because you don't have the other piece. You don't have the
Mm.
direction. You don't have the clarity about what types of actions you should be taking. And when those things come together, that's really where the magic occurs. And
Mm.
then when that magic occurs, you just naturally level up throughout the process. So it's like just to give you a clear example from my story, I was doing all the wrong things. I had no direction, but I was doing things. Then I decided to do things in the right direction, meaning I had clarity about the actions I needed to take. I had to make the offer, I had to send the outreach, I had to fulfill the service, like a clear direction on what needed to occur for me to make money. And I actually did that, but then only when I did it and I was in the trenches of like on the sales calls and I was trying to learn how to fulfill for the new clients that I had. That was when I just continuously leveled up and I leveled up at a speed that was like 10x faster than anybody else who wasn't already in the trenches or in that process of doing. And so it's like to me that's the formula to just rapidly learn and become the 99 level final boss that you want to become. It's like just do action, take the right actions based on that clear path that you have, and then after a long enough period of time, you will become the person that you want to become. And I think that it's really as simple as that.
It is, man. That's People want complicated things. They want it to sound more complicated, but it really is that simple as is like Ethan said. It starts with believing in yourself, and that belief leads to you taking bets on yourself by investing in yourself using education. Also, a quick hack, if you want to find stuff that like courses that genuinely worked 9 times out of 10, and like I said, this won't be foolproof, but it'll improve your probability of buying a good course. Look for people who are showing results of people on screen talking about their stuff. People with interviews. If you see 2 or 3 interviews with somebody with their friend, that could be a little bit out of place. But like go find people who literally have interview after interview after interview, like real people, not just Stripe screenshots. Um, and that'll give you a better chance. So invest in yourself with high probability. And then what Ethan said is you got volume leads to quality. A lot of times you guys are like, I just want to sit there. I want to make the best copy I can. Brother, you can't. Your first copy is going to suck. I don't care how many hours you spend on it, it will suck. But your 100th piece, that might be a lot better. So really that quality that you want, that perfectionism that you want is through volume. And once you
Yep.
realize that and make that shift, things start to change quickly. And then like Ethan said, getting getting that practical guidance on a roadblock that's he's in a clear like pathway is huge. So a lot of people ask, why would we not just buy Hormozy's stuff because he's way smarter than KJ? 100%. Way smarter. Dude's made way more money. But he's teaching everyone. It's very broad. And so he's not going to give you a script on how to sign copywriting clients. When you invest in something like Copy School or Copy, or just watch the free videos, you're going to get that guidance, which is specific. And that's why Ethan tripled his money on that one guy is because he already had a system in this lane. The guy already been doing that system. It was very specific help. And once Ethan got it, it just tripled everything. So I would say that is key. But it all comes back to what Ethan said about you have to be moving towards something, or else you have nothing to base stuff on. Uh,
And I think that too, like, if you guys are anything like me, I mentioned this at the beginning, but you're probably a bit impatient, or at least you want things to happen faster than they already are. And analysis paralysis really is the death of like moving fast. And in my story, it's like those 3 to 4 months that I spent early days in Copy Elite doing nothing and just trying to figure out like, okay, how can I build out this launch strategy to make this app go viral whenever it goes live? Like that did nothing for me. And I spent 3 months making nothing, learning nothing, and becoming nothing. And then I took action on my new offer that I could actually control, just like I shared. And within a month, I learned probably 5 to 10x the amount that I learned within the entire 3 months of just studying stuff. And so it's like if you guys actually want to make something happen in a short period of time, which I think we all do, then there is no quicker way. There's really, really no quicker way than just immediately jumping in, not caring about if it sucks, because it probably will. Again, my first sales
yeah.
call, like I wish I had the recording because we could play a clip or something and then you guys would hide your faces. But it was really, really bad. But I never got to get good at sales to where now I take sales calls with Fortune 500 companies. Um, the only reason I
It's
got there is because
crazy.
I took a bunch of sales calls. And so I don't think that like I could have studied sales for a year. Like I would never have gotten the job. I would not be good. I would never I'd never have closed a deal. And so that's what I'm trying to communicate here too, is like I know what it feels like to want to get the perfect thing figured out first before you actually take action because you don't want to mess it up. But messing up is really the only way to make progress. So
That's it, man. Well, I don't even know what to add because I feel like they're ready to take some action now. So, um, yeah, dude, anything else you kind of want to leave to the peoples?
no, I've gotten across everything that I wanted to share. I mean, if those were the two things that I preach for the rest of my entrepreneurial career, I'd be happy because they're really the only
That's
things that.
it. Yeah.
So
Well, Ethan, I just want to say, man, thank you so much, for spending your time to come give back to the channel and just to speak into these guys' lives. Thank you for being a part of Copy Elite. Honestly, I tell people all the time, like, you're one of the dogs, like the core pillars in there. So thank you so much for that, man. And
yeah,
yeah, that's all I got.
thank you guys.
Heck yeah, we'll see y'all later. Go take some action. Don't go watch any more of my videos. Stop watching these freaking videos. Don't give me more pennies on the AdSense. Go out there and send some outreach, write some copy. Um, Love
I
y'all.
deleted YouTube, by the way. I don't have YouTube.
Good man. He won't even see this. He won't even see this video. That's how crazy he is.
All
All
right,
right,
guys.
guys. See y'all.